I'm going to cover something on how to use settings today. You're not going to use this necessarily every day, but it is occasionally going to be required. So I'm going to click on the icon for settings. In the upper left, you will see your name, and it says Apple ID, iCloud, and iTunes underneath it. If you click on that, it'll open it up to your basically your iCloud account. You can come in here and change your phone number. You can change your name and your email address and so on if you need to. You're probably not going to do any changing there. If you need to change your password because you think somebody might have taken it, you could go in here and click on Change Password. And you'd have to key in your code, and then you could come in here and type in a new password and verify it. We're not going to change mine, of course. We can back out of this. Okay, one other thing I should comment on here, there's two-factor authentication, which basically means if you're going to log into your account, you would have to have a verification with a code that's sent to your phone. So it would kind of keep hackers away from getting into your account because they'd have to have your phone in addition to having your password. But again, it's very important that I would say it's important for most people to have two-factor authentication turned on, unless you don't have a phone that will accept, when they're showing an iPhone here, so you obviously do have a phone that will accept a message. So you can also click down here where it says iCloud, and it will show you up in the upper right here. It'll show you how many gigabytes are available on your iCloud account and how many of them are being used. Now, I've paid for extra, and I have 200 gigabytes, which costs me $2.99 a month. If you're on a plan that's free, which most people probably are, you can put up to 50 gigabytes on your iCloud account. That could be a problem, especially if you have an iPad and an iPhone, or a Macintosh and an iPhone. There's a possibility, because both of those are backed up to your iCloud account, that you could fill it up. Or if you have a huge number of photographs. You can see there's a code up here in color, and the blue one shows you how many application gigabytes are being used. Your photos are in yellow, and your apps are in orange. And again, if you have a lot of video in particular on your iPhone or iPad or even your Mac, and it's being backed up to the cloud, then you're going to have a shortage of memory in a hurry. So that's one thing to make sure. If you have videos you don't need, to delete them. If you do need them, you're going to have to back them up first before you delete them, or you're going to lose them forever. So you can go in here and turn on everything. Everything's turned on for me as to what I want backed up, except messages. I don't really care about messages. I don't get very many. So you can turn that off if you don't need to back up everything. The photos is probably the most important thing for everybody to have for backup. So we'll back out of here, and the next thing I'll just quickly run across is sound. You can go in here and change. You can change your ringtone if you need to, and if you click on that, it'll give you an idea what it sounds like. So it's up to you if you want to change that or not. If you're sick of your ringtone, you can go ahead and change it to something else. You can also go in with a text tone or your mail tone. I would just turn the mail one off, unless you really like to be, if you get a lot of mail, you're going to have it dinging all day long. We go down here, we got a do not disturb area. If you don't want to have your iPad going off in the middle of the night, you might want to put on do not disturb. With a phone, that might be a little different story. You might want to be able to get a phone call from somebody even after hours. But anyway, I always turn off on both of them, because I don't want to have something going off and waking me up. General over here is probably one of the areas you might need to go and look. For example, your software update. If you click on that, I have a software update that just was available recently here. It's 13.4. If you click on download and install, it will download and install it. First download it, then install it. But you should plug in your iPad or your phone when you're doing that to make sure the installation process, you don't have your battery go dead or something. You can also control your display and your brightness. If you have the newer versions with the latest versions of iOS and so on, you can go to the light mode, which will use more battery, or you can go to dark mode, which uses less battery. I'm not real super fond of the dark mode, but I try to keep my battery use down because over time, especially with an iPad Pro, the battery doesn't last as long as I would like. You can turn up your brightness or down. That might be important if you're going outside and you need to be able to read it. You might have to turn the brightness up, but I would leave the brightness down. Also, I have night shift turned on, and night shift will actually turn the color of the screen more dark, more amber. Get less blue light. Shouldn't be as hard to get your sleep if you're not getting blue light in your eyes later in the day. You can change your wallpaper if you need. I have a picture of one of my dogs in here. You can just go in here and choose new wallpaper. And you can go to your photos if you want, or you can use, there's a couple of them here that they give you an option to use. If you click on I'm not going to go in there and change it because that one would be hard to find if I take it off. But you can just click on all photos and then you could pick the photo you like and it would become your wallpaper. Privacy is another area you might be concerned about. Location services, basically, some apps will ask to use location services, but they really don't need it that bad. And it depends on how you feel about it. But you can turn that off or on. I've got it on, but I control which programs that that allow to use it. And you can do that here in this column. You can go in and look at each one of your apps and decide whether you, for example, I've got Never on this one. This is a photo one. AccuWeather, on the other hand, I have while using, and you can go in here and make that change if you want to whatever you would desire. Again, I'm not real crazy about giving some app a location if they don't need it. And again, it's up to you. You can go either way with that. Let's go back in here. I kind of popped out of that too early. See, we have one other thing I wanted to, is passwords and accounts. If you've been logging into any websites or onto apps with your iPhone or your iPad, you have an option in there for your iPad to even pick the password if you put a password in. And if you do that, it'll remember it, and you can go in here. And I'm not going to click on with my thumb here, but if I use my thumb, I can go ahead and scan that, and it'll open up all my passwords, and I can look them up by name. They'll all be in a big column. I've got quite a few in there. I don't really need to show those on the air here. So there are a few other things in here, but I don't imagine most people will use them. We'll just kind of cut there and give you a little bit of an idea why you might want to be using the apps, or excuse me, the settings app on occasion. And we'll kind of close down at this point, and if anybody has questions, you can email them to us.